Welcome to the Weekly Thrive Report, and I'm your host, Greg E. Hill, the Culture Change Agent. 4 weeks. Consistency. I'm pumped up. I'm glad to be here. It's been a phenomenal week. Not to say there hasn't been challenges. Please, before I begin, do not excuse my excitement, my energies, my smiles, as if I don't have bad days. If bad stuff doesn't happen, then I'm just preaching to you and everything's rosy on my end. So please don't believe that, alright? But we're here to another Weekly Thrive Report, so I'm excited, I'm pumped up, and most importantly, guess what? Tomorrow, Monday, another opportunity to make your life, the week, the next day phenomenal. So I'm pumped up and excited. It's in North Carolina. I got on a sweater. You know it's hot. It's about to be 90 degrees all week. So if I start sweating when I'm talking, please don't hold it against me, alright? So I want to make this quick. Last week was 15 minutes. That was far too long. I'm going to be quick and direct. And for all my new graduates, this is a message for you. So if you're listening to this and you know new graduates, make sure you share this message because it's really been in my soul, my spirit, my heart this week. So I want to go ahead and start it off. What's the theme for this week? The theme for this week is you define yourself. You define yourself. Because let me speak from the vantage point for my graduates right here. Yesterday you graduated, right? Yesterday you graduated. 4 years, maybe some 5, some 6, some 7. Who knows how long it took you? It don't got the expiration date or how long it took you on your degree. So we ain't even on that. But however long it took you, I want you to make sure, and I'm talking to 2 groups of people. The first group, you're graduating and you got a job, right? The second group, you're graduating and you don't know what the heck you're going to do tomorrow. You don't know. So this is for y'all right here. Alright? And the reason why this is important, because if you don't let you define yourself, you're going to find yourself in some unhappy, some dark, some unfulfilled, some unsatisfying relationships, unsatisfying jobs, unsatisfying homes and families. I don't know. But you're going to find yourself in a deep, dark place if you don't define yourself. Society, they can define it for you. You got a job, you graduated, you're successful. Get your first $60,000 job, and then by the next couple weeks, you're going to be like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And if you don't get a job, they're going to be looking at you like, yo, you should have been doing this, you should have been doing that. Shame on you. And then what does it look like? And in your head, you like, man, I don't got no job. You start to think less of yourself. We have far too many adults, far too many people right now that's living that after they graduate, they stop growing. They stop reading books. They stop doing the things because when you're in school, you're learning, you're getting tested, you're applying stuff. There is a structure on how you graduate. But there is not, I repeat, there is not a structure on how to have a great marriage, how to have a great children, or how to level up on your job. There's no structure for that. So that's why people struggle. That's why I struggled. I struggle to this day. There's no structure on how to blow up speaking or how to blow up podcasting. No, the only reason why I'm getting better and better because I'm taking them lumps, but also I still operate as if I'm growing. I operate as if I'm still in school. I'm in school every single day. I'm reading books, I'm learning, I'm testing out new things, but the problem, a lot of y'all, when y'all leave school, it just stops. The learning stops right there, the growing stops right there, the stretching your stuff stops right there, and I'm going to give you 3 things real quick, and I know, yo, this is a Weekly Thrive Report, but I want to add some type of value, so I'm going to give you 3 things real quick that you can do to make sure that you can continue to define yourself. And the first thing I want to say is write down, yes, I said it, write down what success looks like in every single area of your life. People always give me the advice that right now success looks like. And I did that. I said it looks like X, Y, and Z. But then what about in my finances? What about in my relationships? What about in my health? And I was challenged this week. I don't know what I was listening to. I think I was listening to a sermon by Stephen Furtick. And he said to write down exactly in every area of life what it looks like. Because if you don't, you can let society can define what it looks like. Your friends can define what it looks like. Your parents can define what it looks like, and then all of a sudden, you're always falling short. All of a sudden, you don't know what market needs to hit. Or B, you have no vision at all, and you just going left. So that's my first thing. Write down what success looks like for you in every area of your life. The second, and this is most importantly, and I don't care if you're a graduate or you've been in the game for a while, leave breadcrumbs on the success that you have. And you're like, hold up, what does that have to do with me defining myself? Hear me out on this. Nowadays, when people used to look at resumes back in the day, that was all they had to base off. Your resume and what you said you accomplished, what you said you did, right? But nowadays, with online, with social media, The resume is just half the battle. If you're applying for this job or you're trying to level up your career and you don't have breadcrumbs on the successes you had outside of that, how can I believe you? Am I going to take you or the guy that I can look online and say, hey, when he started, he was at this level. And then every single year he documented the successes he had, so it helps with the resume. And I think a lot of people are missing that bait because they say, oh, I'm not trying to build a brand. I'm not trying to be on TV. I'm not trying to blow up, so I don't need to document anything. My success, my resume speaks for itself. Not today, because if you want that leg up, whatever you're doing, specifically, if you don't have no job right now, by this time, within over the next year, while you're trying to get into your lane, make sure you document why you can even add value in that lane. So when you go into those interviews, they're not just saying, okay, what you been doing the last couple of months? Well, I just been applying for jobs and interviewing. That's not enough. If you want to be a videographer, okay, over the last couple months, I've done X, Y, and Z in this field. If I'm trying to be a marketer, over the last couple months while I've been applying for jobs, I've been helping this company do this company do that. Or for my people that want that raise or that big promotion on your job, don't just tell your manager what you're doing. Show him tangibly. Show the world tangibly, especially if you're trying to go to an industry or another job outside of yours, because the resume is just not enough. So I repeat. Leave breadcrumbs on the success you are having so you can kind of shape the narrative and you can define yourself. Do not let the resume define yourself. Let you, because when you're going in those interviews, they're going to look at their resume for a second and they're going to look at you and you got to show up and show out. But nowadays, after you show up and show out, they're going to look online. And if they don't see anything online about the success you say you have or the impact you said you have, guess what? Somebody got a leg up on you, and I don't want that to be you. And finally, before I get my weekly thrive report and get on out your face, I got one last thing, right? And this is important. This is the most important message that I can preach because I live with this. This hurts me to this day. I've been in some dangerous places because of this, because I haven't observed this. If you want to define yourself, be okay with letting people down. I can't say it more directly. Be okay with letting people down. Because guess what? If you're always pleasing people, if you're always saying the things people want you to say, doing the things people want you to do, guess what? Your true you, your true self, you may never see it. You may not have time to pursue the things that you really need to pursue because you're doing something for somebody else. You may not have time to invest in the things you really need to invest in because you're giving money to somebody else. You may not have the mental capacity to deal with the problems or the things that's right in front of you because you're dealing with somebody else's. So I challenge you, be okay with letting people down. Because in my whole life, I've always harbored it, man. My first time when I dropped out of college, I was like, yo, I want to do everything for my team. I want to show that I was a leader, show that I was a ride or die, do all this stuff. And then I ended up, I'm getting evicted out of my apartment. Everything getting taken out of my apartment. My jackets, my suits, whatever. I used to be really fly. I'm kind of fly now. I used to be outrageous fly back in the day. And at 22 years old, I'm coming back to my apartment. My key don't work. Now I'm locked out. And in my head, I said, man, I'm doing it for the team. I'm doing it for everybody else. No. I was trying to please everybody else. Because I was more comfortable with when I'm walking around people saying, man, that's the guy from Enjoyment Entertainment. That's the guy that's doing that. Rather than internally knowing I need to handle my business. So I challenge you, just don't be outside looking good. Work on that inside. Look in your closet. E.T. said it best. I was so moved by that. Thank God it's Monday. He said, yo, I don't care about what your house looks on the outside. Take me to your closet and let me see what's inside of it. So I'm just challenging y'all. Remember, don't be afraid to let people down. It's just as serious as that. So let's jump into the Weekly Thrive Report. Great things that happened this week. 3 things. First, my brother Timothy Noble got married yesterday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Phenomenal event. I had a great time. It's really great, man, for a guy that's always been in my corner, helped me create my second website, and just had such a passion to help others and to help people. And it was a blessing to see him and his lifetime friend get married. So shout out to Tim and Yana, man. Hope y'all enjoy y'all honeymoon. I love y'all. Second great thing that happened. We won our high school faculty game versus Southern High School. Bull City is at the hill. So I'm pumped up. I'm not as good as I used to be. I ain't gonna lie, I was on the bench majority of the game. But hey, my whole spirit was so hype on the bench. And I just love my own growth. Because I remember in high school, my junior year, I will never forget it. I thought I was about to be D1. First of all, I'm 6'3". I was 6'3" in middle school. So I thought I was about to be 6'8". I didn't end up doing that. My junior year was supposed to be my breakout year. And unfortunately, I was on the bench and I was a cancer on the bench. I wasn't clapping for people. I was all like this, and just to see in 10 years' time, coming up on my 10 reunion next month. In 10 years time, I was excited, clapping everybody up on the bench, just getting it pumping. So I'm glad that we won, but most importantly, I'm glad to see growth in my attitude, right? And I know some of y'all laughing at me, y'all think y'all can beat me one-on-one. Cash me outside in Durham, North Carolina. Y'all can't beat me. Last but not least, I know last year I had the opportunity to speak at an elementary graduation. I learned some things from it. It was a great time, but now I have the opportunity again in next month to speak at a middle school graduation. So I'm pumped up, I'm excited. Hopefully next year we'll get a high school graduation and next year we'll get a college, who knows, but God is good. Also shout me out, I'll be in East Carolina University speaking at a health conference next week. Keep me in prayers when I'm on the road. I deliver a real, authentic message to hopefully encourage and empower some life. But one area of improvement I want y'all to keep me in mind is self-control. Self-control. And the biggest thing about self-control is my thoughts. Sometimes I can, because honestly, I mean, I've gotten over, and I've told you in many shows, homelessness, bad credit, bad financial decisions, bad relationships on my end. There's a lot of stuff in the past, but sometimes I let that past really directly affect, not my future, because I'm still moving forward, but my thoughts about certain things. So I just want to continue to be in the Word and to just be present and don't make excuses for myself or put limitations on things just because of some past things that worked through. So please keep me in thoughts as I work on my self-control. My recommended book, resource, or tool, I'm still in that podcast lane, Industry Standard by Barry Katz. It's a podcast where he interviews comedians, entertainers, agents that are in Hollywood or abroad around the United States. And I'm talking about some of the best directors and that create amazing films, that do amazing stand-up comedians, what have you. I mean, they had like Kevin Hart, Apatow, Judd Apatow, a lot of comedians that have come on there, agents, entertainers, and they bring you a first-hand perspective of not just how they've been able to get to where they need to gun, but most importantly, a benchmark on what it takes to succeed on that level. Like, for instance, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but my big takeaway from this week is consistency creates confidence. I know you've heard it before. I know it's not too deep, but consistency creates confidence. And while I was listening to Industry Standard by Barry Katz, it was an interview when they interviewed David Copperfield. And the guy, if you don't know him, he's a magician. And he's not just a random musician. He's a musician that is worth $800 million. So, and he was talking about his process. And he's like 58 years old. And then the number 638 came on the screen. I was like, what is 638? Last year alone, he did 638 shows. This guy's worth $800 million, 58 years old, 638 shows. And I'm looking like, hold up, there's like 365 days a year. Is he doing 2 shows a day? Yes, sometimes 3. 2 to 3 shows a day at 58 years old, worth $800 million. Like, what does that look like? Like, how much motivation, how much consistency, what kind of regimen allows you at that age, at that net worth, to have that type of consistency that you're doing 638 shows in a year? And I couldn't even show up some days. I ain't gonna lie, I was debating on even putting out this episode. I was like, man, I don't got nothing to say, whatever. That said, you better sit your behind down. You got David Copperfield worth $800 million, 58 years old. You can't do another episode. You do it one time a week? So I challenge y'all, for any one of y'all right now that has a dream that you have not acted on, a goal that you have not acted on, think of 638. Think of David Copperfield. Think $800 million net worth and still getting it every single day. I challenge y'all to think about that. My big goal of the week, live streaming the Minority Trailblazer Conference. If you haven't already, March 2018, first ever Minority Trailblazer Conference. Is going to be a phenomenal event. Thanks for over the 200 people that's already signed up to get more information when it's coming. Thank y'all so much. It's going to be a phenomenal event, and we're going to live stream. I know my audience is well outside of the United States. So if you want to travel from Australia, from Africa, from London, Brittany, come on in. But if not, there's going to be a live stream option available to different, some of the different trainings, some of the different keynotes. So that will be in tow. And as we close, my goal for next week is simple. Hire an event consultant. It will probably be Gabrielle Jones. I had her on the podcast last week. She was dropping crazy jewels. But I need to hire another consultant that's in this event space so that I can make sure this Minority Trailblazer experience is phenomenal. It's a value add and that everybody that comes gets what they need out of it. And last but not least, my challenge to you to write down on a sheet of paper what success looks like in these 5 areas of your life. Financially, relationship-wise, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Alright? So make sure you write down what success looks like for you in those 5 areas, and then ask yourself, are you there yet? And if the answer is no, it's up to you to find out how you get there. I ain't a guru. I'm still trying to get it just like you. Alright? So hope you gained something from this today. And as we close, and there's 2 things I need from you. 1, subscribe to the channel, alright? And 2, make sure you change the freaking culture. And as we close out, I want to send a special shout out to my mom, Vassie White. Alright? Happy Mother's Day.